island cast off the colony's coast, but no one is safe here anymore. Not her family, and not the people who have called Kagari home, since the spirit Yindinji, messenger of the great god Biril, stood on the beach at Moon Point and told them the laws they must follow. Now there is talk of moving the remaining Badtjala to the mainland, visible in the distance across the strait, all chimneys and farms. On maps, the region is marked as Queensland, and the nearest town, Maryborough, but Hilda remembers Jurano patiently extending his arm and pointing out to her mother and her that, as well as Kagari, a swathe of the mainland, from Burham Heads in the north to Inskip Point to the south and as far inland as Mount Borpal, is, in fact, Badtjala country. Always Badtjala country, he said in English, for Hilda's family did not yet speak Badtjala and Jurano did not know German. But they want us gone. Later, in the privacy of their hut, Hilda's mother looked up from her journal. What queen would allow such horror to occur as has befallen these people? She asked, flicking through her notes and reading aloud her records of the diminishing number of Badtjala showing up each year for the government's handouts of blankets, flour, and tobacco. She attended the handouts as a volunteer, travelling with the government men to various locations on the island and the mainland coast opposite, while Hilda's father remained at the camp, meticulously recording the results of his ethnographic studies. They are dying under our noses, she said. Christelle, it does not help to become emotional, Hilda's father began, then sighed. If others could just see these people as we have, if they could be educated, Christelle said. Why do you think I am doing this? Louis pointed at his notebooks, frustrated but still a gentle smile on his face. Christelle traced with her finger a drawing she had made of the long narrow island. Look, it is in the shape of a musket, she said, tapping the northern point, the stock of the gun, and running her finger down the barrel to the southern tip. In reality, almost 80 miles separated the two ends. On the map, a small ink dot halfway down the west coast marked the location of their hut and the Badtjala camp they had been welcomed into, surprisingly swiftly in the circumstances. With watercolour, Christelle had shaded grey areas along the west coast that were thick with mangroves, and other places to the north where wide estuaries gaped into the strait. She had rendered the interior green, where the rainforests were thickest, daubed blue circles for the jewel-like lakes, and marked green lines for the creeks. She left white the vast surf beaches of the east coast, some 14 miles away. There were symbols to indicate vast middens spilling the discarded shells of wong. On the island's northeastern tip, she painted an orange protuberance of rock, Indian Head, where there had been stories of massacre. She marked the site on the map with an upright cross. Christelle continued, If it weren't for the likes of Mr. Sheridan, her eyes lit up when she spoke of the wealthy mainland pastoralist. He had paid Hilda's father well for their time here, and Hilda suspected he must be disappointed that the field's studies were still unpublished. Did Mr. Sheridan also fear, as Hilda herself did, that his dream of making Kagari a reserve for the Badtjala was vanishing? On Mr. Sheridan's large farm outside Maryborough, an old black woman lived alone by the river. Hilda had visited twice with her family, and both times had gone to sleep to the sound of the old woman's singing. The ghostly wail had come in waves across the paddocks and made the hairs rise along Hilda's arms. Now, through the window, Hilda watches Bonny lift his nephew, little Bonny, onto his back, and they career over the sandy ridge to the beach. She takes the pen and dips it into the well of deep blue ink as she opens the new journal her father bought for her in Maryborough. 15 February 1882. Shh, listen. That is what my dear mother said to me as we sat here by the fire 4 long years ago. It was our first night on the island, and I was 12 years old. I am writing this later, after my mother left us in May last year, the very day the comet appeared in the sky. She died from a cough that grew worse and worse until she could no longer breathe, despite the efforts of Mary and the other women to treat her with powerful medicine made from plants.